Welcome back, everybody. Sheepdog Smokey here, and this is similar to Share coming out against the plan to send illegal aliens to sanctuary cities. Apparently, Maddow has flipped and is supporting what a lot of conservatives are saying may have to happen. Rachel Maddow pushes for war in Venezuela to stop Putin. Maddow wanted Trump to blame Russia for Venezuela's political crisis. MSNBC commentator and liberal militarist Rachel Maddow slammed President Trump for refusing to rattle sabers with Vladimir Putin over Venezuela's political crisis on Friday. Maddow pointed out the difference in tone between President Trump and neoconservative interests in his administration, such as Mike Pompeo and John Bolton. The latter may have been recently peddling a fanciful narrative accusing Russia of keeping the nation's beleaguered socialist president, Nicolas Maduro, in power. President Trump has been less inclined to accept the dubious and somewhat sensational accusation and spoke to President Putin on the phone Friday, pardon me, about the situation. The Russian president told Trump that his nation wasn't looking to get involved in the ongoing power struggle in the South American country, contrary to instinctual and reactionary claims from Pompeo and Bolton. Trump had summarized his conversation with President Putin over the issue in a productive tone. The neoconservative hawks are unclear on how exactly Russia is supposedly puppeteering Maduro's socialist government. The crisis in Venezuela hasn't exactly reached the level of armed combat, with a parliamentarian named Juan Guaido, not sure exactly the pronunciation there, claiming to be the legitimate president and hoping to gain the support of the nation's military. Maddow pointed out the mixed signals coming from the executive branch, claiming that President Trump, the duly elected commander in chief, was preventing unelected bureaucrats such as Pompeo and Bolton from doing their jobs, of creating conflict and tension with Russia by refusing to blame the country for Venezuela's crisis. With liberal militarists such as Maddow willing to shill so openly for intervention in Venezuela, implicitly invoking the facile motive of seeking to poke Russia as a revenge for the now debunked Russian interference conspiracy, conservatives and America First advocates should take a strong second look at the potential complications of interfering in the situation and what it would create. And you can watch the video. I honestly really can't stomach too much of her. But here's the deal, and here's something that Maddow needs to accept. Mike Pompeo and John Bolton are not able in any way, shape, form, or fashion to call for military action. At all. Ever. Period. Trump is the commander in chief. He would go to his staff in the DoD, that being the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Chief of Staff of the Air Force, Chief of Staff of the Army, the Chief of Staff of the Navy, and the Commandant of the Marine Corps. They would advise him. Pompeo and Bolton would not be involved in that unless invited, and they're not likely to be. They are not the people to talk to. Maddow is upset that her 2+ years of Russia, Russia, Russia turned out to be nothing. There was no collusion. There was no obstruction. Maddow is now working feverishly to come up with a new reason that Russia is helping Trump. Of course, now that is, Trump won't go to war because Maddow says so. We could have Vladimir Putin himself calling for military action to aid Guaido. Okay, he could be on television calling for Maduro to step down. And Maddow would demand President Trump go to war with Russia because, of course, he's lying. President Putin in Russia could step down, leave office, and retire. And she would say it was a move to aid Trump. Nothing in this world will ever happen that Maddow and her liberal idiot MSM talking heads will ever give credit to anyone but themselves for. The situation is fairly simple. Right now, if we were to go into Venezuela with the U.S. military, it would spark war. Plain and simple. And right now, the liberal talking heads, who have for years screamed that war is never the answer, although they're saying war in Syria must continue because they don't want us to leave, which would be a good move on for Trump. They now want war in Venezuela. And I don't honestly know why. Maduro has already been shown using deadly force against the citizens who are in open rebellion against his sycophantic and socialist iron rule. It's not difficult to believe that he set up the election so that no matter what happened, he would be declared winner. And that's what has sparked this situation. Guaido is currently working to sway members of the security forces so that he can then assume power. All of this stems from one thing, though, something Rachel Maddow will never, ever accept as the right thing, as what happened. And all of that is that 10 years ago, Venezuelans were universally disarmed, completely and totally. Then, as the years passed, taxes were raised, socialism crept in, and now today they are being ruled by a tyrant. And Rachel Maddow doesn't care. She wants war because Rachel Maddow wants Putin to be the bad guy and now is ordering the President of the United States to hand power over to people who would do what she wants done. And I will say this very, very simply again, for those of you who, like Miss Maddow, are ignorant of the facts of the matter when it comes to the Constitution. John Bolton, Mike Pompeo, anyone else in the administration really, has zero power. President Trump is the commander-in-chief of the United States military. That's the end of it, right there. Does not matter what Bolton, Pompeo, or anyone else says. They can do nothing. And right now, we should do nothing. If the U.S. all of a sudden was sailing toward Venezuela, what's to stop Maduro from ordering open fire and slaughtering thousands to tens of thousands or more? Because he knows the U.S. will march in and win. But if he tells them, turn around or I slaughter another 10,000, and we don't, and he does, we're the bad guys. And Rachel Maddow at that point would be all over MSNBC about how evil Trump is. He got thousands killed by not turning around. And she would ignore and even lie about the fact that right now she's calling for war. It just amazes me the hypocrisy that can be spread as supposed news and how no one calls it out. But I've said enough on this. Let me know what you think. As always, keep it civil. We do not learn from argument, we learn from debate. Also, please remember to like, share, and comment on this video, as well as to subscribe and turn on notifications so that you are among the first to know of any new content as it is posted. Until next time, everyone have a wonderful day.